Thank you all very much for coming on tonight. Excellent to see you. Does anybody know this has been going on for 149 next year's the 150th anniversary? Okay. There's a few seats out there that are not filled out. You guys got to make sure everybody comes to the 150th. We've been lucky enough, and thank you all very much for the Twin City Metro. We've been invited here. We've been invited here at least 5 or 6 years now, and we really do appreciate you giving us the opportunity to come. We are missing about a half of our band tonight. They're down in Kansas City competing in the Winter Storm Contest, which is the biggest single solos contest in North America. It brings in competitors from all over the world, and we were very lucky that one of our tenor drummers took second place in the gold medal at the U.S. National Gold Medal. Figure out what we're gonna play. We're a band of consensus, so we have to come together on a consensus of the second list. We try to then quickly veto and determine which one we're gonna play. Okay, we're playing more levels. Yeah. He said we're playing too much. We gotta have to listen to Jay because he's local, his brother's the MC of the show. His brother starts giving us nasty comments. Making really, really bad jokes about us. Not the cool ones, but really bad. You guys all know his brother. You know how bad it is. Come on. More tunes, and we'll play a nice slow air, kind of in the intermission there. Is that cool? Three notes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. My name is Jeff Annis, and I'm the proud mayor of Mapleton, the curling capital of Minnesota. Welcome to the 149th annual Burns celebration. We have a great Burns board that helps put this together, and I really do enjoy coming at 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon and working with these people. They're fabulous. And again, I think we've got a good show lined up for you. The celebration is also available online if you want to watch it a second time or share that with your friends. Just search Maple River Burns Club on YouTube. So thanks to all those individuals who have helped, are involved with this and coordinating this event so that Mapleton can continue to celebrate its rich tradition. Tonight, we're going to celebrate that 60th Miss Bonnie Lass. So, good luck to the contestants and to moms and dads and grandparents and family. Again, you're becoming a very special, part of a very special tradition in Mapleton. So again, best of luck. And I also want to do a shout out and a super big thank you to all the former Miss Bonnie Lasses and courts that have made the trek on this balmy weekend here to Mapleton to help celebrate with us. And you'll get to see some of those again a little bit later in the show. So again, this weekend is a great time for remembering the great Scottish heritage that makes up a lot of our Mapleton ancestry. What an accomplishment that we've been able to keep this alive. So Maple River Burns Club members, past, present, have my gratitude for keeping the tradition alive in Mapleton. And I really want to encourage all of you to come to the clan gathering and to sort of get reacquainted with some familiar faces that you may not remember the names to. And I did that this afternoon several times at the curling club, like, oh man, yeah, I got the face, so help me with the name. And again, my Aunt Joyce said, she talked to someone, I don't know, for 5 minutes, and then she goes, who was I just talking to? I said, that was Karen Moore. Oh, yeah, I got that, yeah. So get back, there's plenty of treats, a lot of stuff to look at. So again, as we, again, celebrate tonight with all things Scottish, with poetry, with the dancing, with the curling, the bagpipes, hopefully you'll notice a few things that we've been trying to upgrade and continue to do that. So again, if you like some of those things, you always can contribute to the Maple River Burns Club endowment. That's a little over $23,000 right now and climbing. So again, tonight we are, again, blessed to have a veteran MC. He's still pacing back there and keeping this tradition alive. You know, John Stevens, now I think, I don't know, we argue this a little bit, but I think this is the 19th time that he's been here. John is a 1980 graduate of Mapleton and a graduate of MSU with a degree in history and finance. And he grew up, again, with the Scottish background. So this is, I think, a joy for him to come down and celebrate with all of us. John is married to his wife, Chris, and they have 2 growing children. So again, I want to thank John for being our MC tonight, and let's give him a nice, warm Burns Club welcome, John Stevens.
There we go. It's off to a smooth ride. We're going to have a smooth ride tonight. Jeff and I were talking last week, and this is just, you know, gosh, aren't we all the same age? Like, I'm still 34. I'm still 34. But when I was talking to Jeff about this being the 60th Miss Bonnie Lass, and I was looking at the list that's in your program, and I said, Jeff, my sister was Miss Bonnie Lass, and she was number 15. How old does that make me? And Jeff goes, my sister was number 4. But with that, really a great shout out to the community. Have me back another year. The Heritage Place, Mapleton Community Center. I hear you're watching tonight, so a shout out to you. So real quickly, we're going to get a lot of other history, so my history part is going to be a little bit shorter tonight. But for those of you who are new to this program, and I know there's at least one in the front row, why, I get this all the time, why Robert Burns? You know, as again, Robert Burns, the most famous Scot in the history of Scotland, voted by the Scottish people. When he died, the Burns Nights, or Burns Suppers, so Burns died in 1801. 4 years later, they started this tradition. And it's estimated that tonight, or one of these weeks, right around tonight, 9 million people celebrate Robert Burns every year. Put your mind on that, 9 million. When he died, there were over 10,000 people at his funeral. And of course, he was a randy guy. He did father 12 children with 4 wives. He was not an NBA basketball player. But in all honesty, 9 of those children with his long-term wife, Jean. And he wasn't just popular then, and he's not just like traditional now. Abraham Lincoln and his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, loved Burns. In fact, 4 years after Abraham Lincoln had been assassinated, Mary Todd actually took a trip across the ocean and visited the birthplace of Robert Burns. And while she was there, she got very caught up about one of her favorite poems about a lost love. And it's quoted that Mary Todd sighed over poor Highland Mary's grave. And in fact, Abraham Lincoln, while he was, of course, still alive, in 1865, did a toast to Robert Burns. And so this is a quote from our 16th president. "I cannot frame a toast to Burns. I can say nothing worthy of his generous heart and transcending genius. Thinking of what he has said, I cannot say anything which seems worth saying." So Abraham Lincoln couldn't come to words for Robert Burns. Pretty special. So let's get to the fun part of the show. Mostly me. No, I'm joking. A little bit of me, but a lot of dancing. And so, as I like to say, I'm going to tell some stories. I'm going to tell some jokes. And yes, I'm going to do a couple of puns. I'm going to warn you when it's going to be a pun so you can get your thinking caps on. And I'll give you a little time to think about it because sometimes it takes a while. And many of you afterwards will say, "Oh, John, that was so good. Your jokes are so good." And some of our others like, "Oh, John, it was like so-so." So here's my advice tonight. If you like what I did, tell me in the clan gathering. If you didn't like it so much, just lie and say how much you liked it. So let's start with a couple of stories, and I'm going to pick on my dear, dear father and grandfather. This is many years ago, and old Billy, my dad, was finally starting to date my mom, Evangeline. Hey, Mom. And he was a little bit embarrassed about bringing her out to the farm because they didn't have indoor toilet yet. They were still using an outhouse. And my dad was on my grandfather, Gene, like, we need indoor plumbing. We got indoor plumbing. And Gene was having none of it. So my dad couldn't wait anymore, and one night snuck out and tipped the outhouse over. He goes, "That'll show. Now we'll have to put a toilet in." So the next morning they were having breakfast, and my grandpa comes in and he says, "Bill, remember George Washington and the apple tree? Do you want to tell me who tipped over the outhouse last night?" My dad said, "Yeah, Dad, it was me." My grandpa said, "Well, that's a good thing. You told me the truth. So as your punishment, you can start digging the new hole today." And my dad's like, "Dig a new hole? George Washington's father didn't make him dig a hole or, plant another tree. He didn't get any punishment." And my grandpa said, "Yeah, but I don't think George Washington's father was sitting in tree when you chopped it down. You got it there. That was a messy ending. Another story about my mother, and my mother, bless her soul, she turns 90 next month, and she's doing fantastic. And you know, she was always a working mom, working farm mother, and cooking was a necessity, not a joy, right? So she's an okay cook. Sorry, Mom. But we had dinner one night, and my family are sitting around. She goes, you know, there's a study that the more colors on your plate is more nutritious. So you can have, you know, various colors of food. It really drives nutrition. And so she goes, how many colors can you see on your plate? And my sister Joy goes, I count 6. Well, maybe 7 if you count the burnt parts. Sorry, Mom. And the last story before we kick it off here is Jeff Ward is not here tonight, a good friend of mine, and he had sent me a note and said he couldn't make it tonight. So, sorry, Jeff, I can tell you this story that now that you're not here. When he was a freshman in college up at the U, let's just say that first semester was a little bit, you know how it is, party, have fun. Anyway, he gets to class and it's a big test, and he wasn't so prepared. And so Jeff had an idea. So he took a $100 bill, taped it to his test, and put a note on there to the professor, $1 for every point, thinking he'd get 100. Comes back to the class the next day, gets his test back with $64 in change. Oh man, this is going to be a long night. Anyway, here we go. We're going to get the dancing kicked off with the first dance that our young dancers learn, the pas de bois, which is halfway, a step between the step and a leaf, and it's the first step of the sword dance. It's really the first dance that all these young dancers learn, the pas de bois.
Dancing the pas de bois are Isaac Bundy, Annie Bach, and Colton Bundy.
There we go. Excellent job, excellent job. Well, before our next dance here, I have a story to tell about my dear, dear friend and next door neighbor, Mark Shedler, who was nice enough to ride down today with myself and my brother. And I could actually tell, honestly, like 10 or 12 unbelievable true stories about my friend, who is a really interesting cat. But this goes back a few years, and he had a bad habit of leaving his keys in the ignition of his car. And his wife, Stacy, kept saying, Mark, you're going to have your car stolen. You're going to have your car stolen. So he gets done with, he was at a meeting at church one night, and he's like looking in his pockets, and sure enough, doesn't have his keys. So he goes, I must have left them in the ignition. He goes out to the parking lot, and the car is gone. So he runs back in, calls the police right away, and says, I'm Mark Shedler, here's where I live, I had my car stolen, this is what my car looks like, blah, 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 blah. And he hangs up the phone. And then he's got to make the call he doesn't want to make. Calls up Stacy. Stacy, you're not going to believe it. You're right. I left the keys in the car. Somebody stole my car. Can you come get me? And Stacy goes, "What are you talking about? I dropped you off." And Mark goes, "I know, but thank God, can you come pick me up?" And Stacy goes, "As soon as I convinced this cop I didn't steal your car." Remember? All right, we're going to get the first of a couple of Highland flings tonight. This is the fourth step. So normally it can be a victory dance, either on or before the battles, before or after the battles. So they're dancing, if you can picture it, on top of a shield with a spike in the middle of it. So as you can watch, they keep in a very tight circle, dancing around, flicking their feet, jumping, and carefully stepping to drive the evil spirits away. So here we go, a Highland fling.
Dancing the four-step Highland fling, Ava Bruckoff, Nora Lanou, Maya Bundy, Josie Slama, Bryn Nino, Sarah Davis, Scarlett Rucky, and Charlotte Bach. Yep. Gonna be a long night if you don't leave. Good job, though. We'll cut them a break. I mean, it's bright lights up here. So now we're going to have our 5 candidates for Miss Bonnie Lass come on stage and introduce themselves.
Good evening. My name is Madison Ward, daughter of Eric and Sarah Ward. everyone. My name is Allie Boning, and I'm daughter of Kate and Kyle Boning.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carly, daughter of Tanya Schneider.
Hi, I'm Kira Springer, daughter of Dusty and Amber Springer.
Good evening. My name's Olivia Sellers, and I'm the daughter of Bruce and Becky Sellers.
So there we have it. You can exit stage right, and don't be nervous at all. You only got 2 hours to wait. All right, I warned you. I'm gonna tell you a couple of puns. Some people love puns, some people hate puns, but I'm just giving you a forewarning, okay? Rest in peace, boiling water. You'll be missed. I had a backup for that one, but I couldn't believe that the highway department called my father a thief, but when I got home, the signs were all there. I gave you a warning ahead of time. All right, the next, kind of the national dance of Scotland is the Dusty Miller.
Dancing the Dusty Miller is Elliot Malchow, Isaac Bundy, Sisseton Rucky, Isabella Bruckoff, Rowan Zuri, and Colton Bundy.
So before our next dance, I just wonder if any of you have ever had this feeling, like when you walk into a store, but you don't buy anything, and then when you're walking out, you're thinking, look natural. I didn't do anything wrong. You don't get that one? Like, you're not stealing anything? Oh, sorry. As I've done before, that one's gone. All right, next up we have the broadsword dance. So sword dancing, there's a number of different history here. It's a battle dance. So the Highlanders would cross their swords and dance over them, between them before battle. And of course, good luck if you don't kick the swords. Bad luck if you do kick the swords. So we'll keep a close eye out tonight to see who's got good luck or bad luck tonight. But here we go with the broadsword dance.
Dancing the broadsword is Merritt Ward, Emma Lux, Ava Stencil, and Hallie Hines.
Well, I'll say this much, you know, when the one sword got moved over, extra difficulty, because then when they were supposed to be outside the circle, they were still jumping over that sword. So different place, new jump, very well done. I used to think that reading people's minds would be so cool, but then I went on to Facebook and I changed my opinion. Enough of that. So with that, so I don't get hit in the head or go off the edge. We have started a tradition a few years ago of asking the 10-year increments of former Miss Bonnie Lasses to do a short video talking about where they're at in their lives. And this year we're going to bunch them together. So the first three, this will be first runner-up from 2015, Sarah Faye Moore, and then Miss Bonnie Lass from 2005, Rebecca Stanton Dreyer, and Miss Bonnie Lass 1995, Shannon Ireland Gordy. Let's see what they've been up to.
Hello, my name is Sarah Faye Moore, and I was Miss Bonnie Lass first runner-up 2015. I graduated from Maple River High School in 2016, got a 2-year degree, and I am currently the deputy clerk for the city of Mapleton. My husband, Derek, and I live just outside of Mapleton with our 2 boys, Carter, who is 2.5, and Mason, who is almost 1. I have so many great memories from my year on the Miss Bonnie Lass court. A few that stand out are attending the grand opening of the Maple River Historical Museum, all of the events during Town and Country Days, and of course, all the parades. One of our parade days was a doubleheader, North Mankato and New Richland. I will never forget how long it took us to drive to the second parade because we could only go 40 miles an hour with the float. I would like to wish the 2025 Miss Bonnie Lass candidates good luck, and I hope you have a wonderful year representing our community.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Stanton Dreyer, Miss Bonnie Lass 2005. I currently live in Prior Lake and work in Plymouth. I'm married and have 2 daughters. Olivia is 7 and Charlotte is 3. I really enjoyed representing my community during my time as Miss Bonnie Lass and doing several things throughout the community. I'm so proud to be from such a strong community, and I wish all of the Miss Bonnie Lasses of this year good luck. And even if you don't win, you should really be proud because it takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there.
Good evening. I'm Shannon Ireland Gordy, daughter of Doug and Deb Ireland. 30 years ago, I was crowned Miss Bonnie Lass 1995. Growing up in Mapleton, Burns Night was a huge part of my childhood. I collected anything that resembled a Highland dancer, loved plaid, and the bagpipes. As a kid, there was something so magical about Burns. The windows dark, the smell of that old gym, which now I realize was probably a mix of old wooden bleachers, those dusty velvet curtains, and a waft of Lord knows what coming from the boys' locker room just steps below. But as a dancer of the Mapleton Kilties, it was one of my favorite nights of the whole year. We'd all hand out heathers, we'd help people to their seats, getting to talk to everyone just before the lights would dim. Molly McCabe and I would sneak down to the cafeteria between dances for handfuls of Red Hots from the table decor set up for the clan gathering. 4th grade, I mastered the Highland Fling. The Shantrews, the Jacobites, and the Irish Jig were to follow. And I can tell you, on more than one occasion, my Irish jig moves have come in very handy at parties and weddings throughout my years. In rewatching the old VHS tape, I still don't know how I made it through the jig that night in those high-heeled shoes. Little did we know then, but I actually had pneumonia the night I won Miss Bonnie Lass. The year I won Miss Bonnie Lass, I became the first daughter to follow in the footsteps of my mother, who was Miss Bonnie Lass 1971. The summer to follow, Molly McCabe, Kim Langworthy, Jolene Karen, and I had so much fun representing Mapleton in the surrounding parades and events. Meeting up with the other girls representing their towns was like spending the summer with a bunch of our closest friends. And I can safely say no one was ever injured during our countless dance parties we had on that float. After graduation, I went to school with a focus on the travel industry, was given a great opportunity to see the world as a flight attendant for professional sports teams. After several years, I kept my feet on the ground and I moved to Texas, where I worked my way up to becoming the executive director for the Texas Child Welfare Boards, overseeing fill-in-the-gap services for nearly 30,000 kids in Texas foster care. I raised 3 sisters from care that still today call me mom. Today, my wife and I live in the South. I sit on a local rescue board for animals, which We've become foster fills several times over. We have a little property that animals seem to gravitate towards. Our most recent resident is a little fox that we've named Scout. She loves to sunbathe on our fire pit and listen to Taylor Swift. And every year around this time, I become a little nostalgic. I play bagpipe music, dress our pups in kilts, and I may have time or two paraded around the house in my tiara. So many of my childhood memories are wrapped up in Burns Night. And despite riding the Jacobite train through Scotland, staying in a castle just outside Edinburgh, and attending countless Scottish fairs all over the country, nothing has ever held a candle to Burns Night in Mapleton and being surrounded by so many I know and love. To the contestants tonight, I wish you the very best of luck. No matter where life takes you, no matter how far you go from Mapleton or how long it's been, the sound of bagpipes will always remind you of tonight. They will always remind you of home. I hope you all enjoy the evening.
All right, we started a new tradition, maybe a tradition that's more than 1 year, having a resident poet come down and perform some of Robert Burns's poetry. And we're also going to, I believe, put the words of the poem that he is reading or the poems that he is going to read so you can follow along with him and his accent. Did a great job last year. Welcome back, Richard Stokes.
Thank you. Two poems tonight. To a Mouse, on turning her up in her nest with the plough, November 1785. Wee sleekit cowering timorous beastie, oh, what a panic's in thy breastie. Thou needna start away so hasty with bickering brattle. I would be loath to run and chase thee with murdering pattle. I'm truly sorry man's dominion has broken nature's social union and justifies that ill opinion which makes thee startle at me, thy poor earth-born companion and fellow mortal. I doubt not well is but thou may thieve. What then, poor beastie? Thou maun live. A dame a knicker in a thrave's a small request. I'll get a blessing with a lave and never miss it. Thy wee bit housey too, in ruin. Its silly ways the winds are strewing, and nothing now to big a new one of foggage green. And bleak December's winds ensuing, both snail and keen. Thou saw the fields laid bare and waste, and weary winter coming fast, and cosy here beneath the blast thou thought to dwell, till crash! The cruel coulter passed out through thy cell. That wee bit heap of leaves and stibble has cost thee many a weary nibble. Now thou'st turned out for all thy trouble, but house or hold, to thole the winter's sleety dribble and crannock cold. But Mousie, thou art no thy lane, improving foresight may be vain. The best laid schemes of mice and men gang after gley, and leave us nought but grief and pain for promised joy. Still, thou art blessed compared with me. The present only touches thee, but och, I backward cast my eye on prospects drear, and forward, though I cannot see, I guess and fear. The second poem is an address to a haggis. I can't actually see if I ask you how many people have eaten a haggis. Oh, there's a few. You do know, of course, that it's illegal to import a haggis from Scotland to the US. You understand this, don't you? So any haggis you consume in this country must be made here, and you must leave out the lungs of the sheep. That's the bit they don't like, apparently. Right. Address to a haggis. Fair, fair, your honest sonsy face, great chieftain of the pudding race. Above them all you take your place, pinch, tripe, or thame. Well are you worthy of a grace as long as me arm. The groaning trencher, there you feel, your herd is like a distant hill. Your pin would help to mend a mill in time of need. while through your pores the dews distill like amber bead. His knife sees rustic laver decked, and cut up with ready slicked, trenching your gushing entrails bricked like any ditch. And then, oh, what a glorious sight, warm, reeking, rich. Then, horn for horn, they stretch and strive, they'll take the hindmost, on they drive, till all their well-swalled kites belive are bent like drums. Then old Goodman, maist like to rive, bethank it hums. Is there that o'er his French ragout, or olio that would store a sou, or fricassee would make a spew, with perfect scunner, looks down with sneering, scornful view on such a dinner? Poor Dale, see him o'er his trash, as feckless as a withered rash, his spindle shank a good whiplash, his knees a knit. Through bloody flood or field to dash, oh, how unfit! But mark the rustic haggis fed, the trembling earth resounds his tread. Clapping his woolly eve a blade, he'll make it whistle, and legs and arms and heads will snade like taps of thistle. Ha! Ye powers who make mankind your care, and dish them out their bill of fare. Old Scotland wants no skinking ware that jops and luggies, but if you wish her grateful prayer, give her a haggis.
I thought that was fantastic. Let's give Richard another round of applause. And I don't know about you, but we were in Scotland 5-6 years ago, and we had haggis 3, 4, 5 times. Outstanding, excellent, highly recommend it, and I'm not joking. Really, really good. Before our next dance, there was that saying that, Disney always promised you, dreams really do come true. What they forget to tell you is that nightmares are dreams too. Right? All right, now we're going to go to another Highland fling. This is the 6th step, so a little more complex, a little longer dance. Another story about the Highland fling is that it was a fertility dance. And so you can look at raised hands representing a stag, which was an ancient sign of fertility. Also, these dancers, and if you want to try to count, it's estimated they will jump vertically 192 times during this dance. So here we go, Highland fling, 6th step.
Dancing the Highland Fling 6th step are Mackenzie Bruckoff, Grayson Bundy, Anna Davis, and Emerson Stock.
You're up next. All right, we are fortunate to have the Twin Cities Metro Pipe Band come back out and play another set for us. So here they are.
sound the same to me. But I've been playing them for many generations. The problem is I end up starting the wrong tune often, so I have to have the rest of the band fill me in when I'm starting to sing the wrong tune, and they'll sing back to me the correct way. How's this right? This is the set, we call this the castle set. This is 2 tunes, board castle, and then castle neighbors, so we call it the castle set. Ready? got it right this time. So this next section is our last section for this round. The first tune is called Long and Last, which is actually a new tune. It was written here in the past couple of years. The second tune is a tune called Gone with the Day. It's an Irish tune. It was actually, I got a music book from the 1860s, and it listed as trap in a book from the 1860s. So this tune was around since probably the late 1700s. You know what it was, right? It's a very cool tune. Great.
Excellent job, excellent job. So I have a story about this linguistic professor who is very long-winded, giving an ongoing lecture about the use in various languages and negatives and positives and on and on. And this is kind of how he concluded it. So, as you can see, in some languages, a double negative is now a positive. But in other languages, a double negative is still a negative. But in no language is a double positive ever a negative. And in the back of the room, a young student says, "Yeah, right." I'll let that linger. All right. I should have given you fair warning. Pun. All right. The next sword dance that we have up here is another legend, is that Malcolm Cadmore in 1054 danced over crossed swords in triumph. So we will move to the sword dance.
Dancing the sword dance are Becca Feldman, Evelyn Langworthy, Adeline Beck, Hope Switzenberg, and Maddie Marson.
Excellent job, excellent job. Say, have you ever thought about it? It feels like it takes 6 hours to make your meal and like 10 minutes to eat it, and then washing the dishes seem to take all week. That's how it feels at our house sometimes. So next time we're going to move to the sailor's hornpipe. Now, this was adapted from an English dance, and it's now performed more frequently in Scotland. So it's going to mimic a sailor doing work aboard a ship. So while you watch this dance, see if you can see the dancers hauling rope, sliding on deck, getting their checks, making sure they don't touch their uniform and get them dirty. So all of these actions are kind of built into this dance. A really fun one, the sailor's hornpipe.
Dancing our first sailor's hornpipe tonight are Kira Springer, Olivia Sellers, and Allie Boning.
So now we have a treat. I think the screen's going to come down and there is going to be a short film talking about the history of our Miss Bonnie Lass contest. I'm also to ask any former Miss Bonnie Lasses in the auditorium if you could exit. Looks like you're exiting right now, and at the end you'll come onto the stage. So here we go. A brief history of the Miss Bonnie Lass contest.
For the past 60 years, the crowning of Miss Bonnie Lass has been an integral part of Mapleton's celebration. But rather than just providing a boost of attendance, it has become a program of ambassadorship, a rite of passage, and an opportunity for cultural stewardship that has spanned generations. Local Mapleton historian Tim Soley, whose personal collection of local memorabilia and artifacts is enough to fill a basement, explains Mapleton's connection to the Scottish poet.
In 1856, 1857, there were a lot of Scottish settlers that came from New York. I think there was another group that came from Wisconsin. They arrived about the same time and settled. And there's this great story out there with Thomas Blair and his new bride and this awful trip they had getting back to the Bass Lake area, getting back to this area, and just had a terrible time getting here. They finally get there, and his wife is a good sport about it, and he wants to do something for his wife, and he says, well, let's celebrate, let's have a party, let's celebrate. Well, what can we celebrate? Well, how about Robert Burns? So it happened that his birthday that year fell on a Sunday, which didn't sit very well. So then they said, well, let's celebrate it on a Saturday. So for many, many years, that's why we had Robert Burns on the closest Saturday to his birthday. But in that 1965, 1966, I've read newspapers where there was a lot of apathy, I think, with regard to the Burns program. So I think attendance and interest was flagging a little bit, and they were looking for something to boost that a little bit, and they came up with the idea of Miss Bonnie Lass, which turned out to be a pretty clever way to get more people interested.
Jeff Annis, Mapleton's current mayor, grew up in a house with tartan patterned carpet. His parents, Paul and Audrey, helped start the Bonnie Lass tradition in Mapleton.
And then Mom was secretary of Burns Club for years. And again, I think between them and the Vobbles, Olga and Clarence, Clarence was the treasurer for many years. And then Olga, she was sort of that first person. And I think if you had to put a name with Miss Bonnie Lass, it would be Olga Vobble.
But Olga was very, very dedicated to this. And the thing that after I got to know her and the first year I worked with her, I said to her, how Scottish are you, Olga? She laughed at me and she said, I'm not Scottish at all. I'm German. And I went, what? She said, where do you think Olga comes from? And I went, oh, I guess I never thought about it. But here was this German lady just gung-ho about all this Scottish heritage. And my admiration for her grew because here she was in a community and she just adapted to it.
In the early days of Miss Bonnie Lass, the junior girls at Mapleton High School made the competition fierce and the honor prized. In the decades that followed, the tradition established by Miss Olga Vobble continued, and Deb Ireland had one of the more unique experiences as Miss Bonnie Lass.
I was Miss Bonnie Lass in 1971. As far as my early memories of Burns Night, I honestly can say I don't think I knew anything about it till I was probably a middle schooler. Then some of our friends were being out for Miss Bonnie Lass and knew more what was going on. I think my first Burns program was probably as a freshman. went to see what was going on and prepared for our junior year, because at that time all of the girls went out for Bonnie Lass when they were juniors. It was just kind of a given.
In 1995, Deb's daughter Shannon also became Miss Bonnie Lass. Along with Deb and Shannon Ireland, Ellen Larson and her daughter Emily also became mother-daughter queens, something that Ireland now cherishes.
So I think to me it's actually probably special in ways that maybe it's not to other queens, just for the fact that our daughter Shannon was also crowned Miss Bonnie Lass. And I think it's just a good way to share the Scottish heritage, pass it on, and go from generation to generation so they know what it's about.
Another unique moment in the history of Miss Bonnie Lass came in 2020 when Isabella, Elizabeth, and Alexandra became queens in 3 consecutive years, a time Alexandra remembers well.
So I remember when Isabella was crowned, I was honestly kind of shocked, but I was super happy for her. She looked beautiful. And the next year, COVID had hit, and it was Elizabeth's turn, and everything was online. There wasn't even a crowd except for me and my family and the other contestants and their families. And she also won, which was super exciting, but immediately once she won, I got nervous, even though it was a year coming before I was supposed to compete. I was extremely nervous because I had a lot of pressure on me at that point, but yeah, I'm really proud of my sisters when they won. I was surprised.
For a tradition to bridge the generations, there has to be buy-in and enthusiasm for it. For the 1989 court of Rebecca Klein Otten, Tracy Walters Hurley, and Pam Brocker Steffel, the memories made during their years of service has been overshadowed by a bond that has lasted decades. Realizing that their court never created a scrapbook to share the Queen teas, the trio got together to reflect on their year and became Bonnie Lass ambassadors far beyond their reign.
All the things we've said about the experience itself were of course great, but I have to say what's been, for me, it's what's come afterwards since 2003. So I'll probably get a little emotional, but these are really important friendships, and I'm really grateful that we have reconnected and we share this, and it's really special.
Another important ambassador to come out of the Gen X generation is Brenda Walker-Stoltzman, who, like Olga Vabel decades earlier, now works in the elementary.
So we had just recently become Maple River at that point, so it was really a fun time because we were introducing all our friends from Amboy, Good Thunder, and Minnesota Lake to the tradition of Burns Night and trying to get some of them to come and experience it. So I remember that being super fun because there were new faces there getting to experience it. At that time, Joanna and I were both teaching Scottish dance as well and dancing. So we were really, really busy on Burns Night, too busy to even be nervous about the Miss Bonnie Lass thing. So there were a lot of memories tied to that, like how proud we were of the dancers. And then the Bonnie Lass thing came and it's like, oh yeah, we have to go put our other dresses on and go do this. I continued to teach Scottish dance through college. So I was in college in Storm Lake, Iowa at Buena Vista, and I would drive home on Saturdays to teach dance because it was just, there's limited people to do it. So you just made that happen.
For members of the 59th Court of Miss Bonnie Lass, they're only beginning to realize the significance of such a tradition.
I think it's crazy. I never thought this day would come where I'd be part of the Bonnie Lass community.
We've been waiting, we've been dancing since first grade, and we have just watched every year after year of these people being crowned, and finally it's our turn, and we're really excited, and it's to be a part of this is so awesome.
For local historian Tim Soley, the significance of continuing and preserving a tradition such as Miss Bonnie Lass has a significant purpose.
About a few years ago, I read this essay from a student, and it said we die twice. We die once when our heart stops beating, and we die when they quit saying our name. And that's what's so great about Mapleton, the Maple River Burns Club, the Heather Curling Club, is we keep saying the names. And one name that we keep saying is Robert Burns, but the other ones, there's so many people, Howisons and Dobies and Ellises and McGregors and Wills and Bobbles and on and on and on. And that goes for the curling club too. We don't forget the people that have come before us. So I think it's just great that we have this tradition and that we continue to honor our ancestors and honor Robert Burns as well.
This activity was made possible by an artist grant provided by the Prairie Lakes Regional Arts Council from funds provided by the McKnight Foundation.
Well, I thought that was really well done. And the in-present Miss Bonnie Lasses are backstage. You can come on stage now, ladies. And I think they're going to quickly introduce themselves. Yep. 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 Here they are. Give them a round of applause.
Good evening. I'm Claire Duncanson Carpenter, and I was Miss Bonnie Lass 2009.
I'm Chelsea Carey Hunstead, and I was Miss Bonnie Lass 2006.
Good evening, Veronica Ziegler-Brookoff, Miss Bonnie Lass 2000. It's my 25th anniversary. Woo!
Shannon Ireland Gordy, I was Miss Bonnie Lass 1995.
Heather Slama Pasberg, I was Miss Bonnie Lass 1991.
Brenda Walker Stoltzman, and I was crowned the 25th Miss Bonnie Lass in 1990.
Becky Klein Otten, and I was Miss Bonnie Lass 1989, and I have to shout out, I've got my whole court here tonight, so Pam and Tracy joining me for another wonderful Burns night.
Hi, I'm Lee Lester Dardis, and I was Miss Bonnie Lass 1985.
Hi everyone, Kim Brocker Hart. I was Miss Congeniality and Miss Bonnie Lass 1984.
Hello, I'm Leah Jake Nelson, and I was Miss Bonnie Lass 1983.
Hi everybody, my name is Kelly Albright-Rotz, and I was Miss Bonnie Lass 1981.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Joanne Lake Evans, and I was crowned 1978 Miss Bonnie Lass and Miss Congeniality.
Hello, everyone. Julie Junker-Zett, Miss Bonnie Lass of 1974. Need to give a shout out to Karen Morris, Chris Claugus. They're in the audience tonight, part of my court.
Good evening. I'm Deb Bach Ireland, and I was Miss Bonnie Lass in 1971.
Good evening. You must have saved the best for last. At least that's what my brother would say. And I was Miss Bonnie Lass in 1969, and I'm Jane Annis Pickering.
Thank you very much. A little story, Joanne Lake in 1978, she got crowned, got piped off, had to come back on stage, I mean immediately, and Joanne and I did a duet. So, I mean, that is a performer. She danced, she piped, she queened, she Miss Congeniality. I mean, that was a big night. That was in the old new gym. If you remember, we had a big, big crowd that year. Okay, this is not in your program, but, you know, one of the honors of being MC, I get to do what I want to do sometimes. So, I'm going to sing you a couple of songs. Is that all right? And if you feel like singing along in parts of them, we'll go pretty fast. Just jump on in. It's okay. We're just family here. By you, Bonnie breaks, and by you, Bonnie break. When the sun bright shines bright, oh, Loch Lomond, but me and my true love will never meet again. on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Oh, you take the high road and I'll take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afore you. But me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Oh, it's nice to get up in the morning when the sun begins to shine, when it's 4 or 5 or 6 o'clock in the good old summertime. But when the snow is blowing and it's dreary overhead, oh, it's nice to get up in the morning, but it's nicer to lay in bed. Thank you. This one's for Bobby Housen, if you're watching, Bobby, and I know you love this one. I've just been blowing Mac away. He's the best I've ever seen. I mean Mackay, he's the first mate on the steamship Fairy Queen. He sails the world, he goes round 3 times a year. But every time his ship comes in, I'm standing on this pier. 'Cause I like Mackay and Mackay likes me. I treat Mackay and then Mackay, he treats me. I like Mackay 'cause Mackay's true blue. And it's only when Mackay comes home that I have 1 or 2. 'Cause I like Mackay and Mackay, he likes me. I treat Mackay and then Mackay, he treats me. I like Mackay 'cause Mackay's true blue. And it's only when Mackay comes home that I have 1 or 2. And the last one for our dear friend, Jack Will. Here you go. A lot of people say the kilt is not the thing to wear. In fact, they say the kilt is out of date. But I've got certain reasons why I'm wearing mine, and so I'll tell you if you only care to wait. I used to have a pair of breeches for Annette, my wife, but after we've been wed a week or 3, I sold my treasures, bought this kilt. The reason was because, I'll tell you if you listen now to me. Well, every night I used to hang me trousers up on the back of the bedroom door. I rue the day I must have been a jay. I don't hang 'em up anymore. 'Cause every night my wife, she rimbers through me pooches while I was fast asleep beneath me quilt. And in the morning when I woke, I was always stony broke. And that's the reason why I wear the kilt. I never would have found her out, but one night I come home, I was feeling a little queer about my head. But soon I was in the land of dreams, and then I wake at 3 to see her there a-standing up in bed. She said, "Shush, be quiet. There's burglars in the house. I'm searching through your pooches for a gun." I don't know if she was or not, but all I know is this: there was nothing in my pooches when she's done. 'Cause every night I used to hang me trousers up on the back of the bedroom door. I rue the day I must have been a jay. I don't hang 'em up anymore. 'Cause every night my wife, she rambles through my pooches while I was fast asleep beneath my quilt. And in the morning when I woke, I was always stony broke. And that's the reason why I wear the kilt. Thank you. Thank you for indulging me. The Chartreuse dance is our next one up. This has a long history. The Jacobites and the English taking away the ability to wear kilts, and then that ability came back. So for new watchers of this dance, and I know many of you have seen this many times, but if you're relatively new, you can see the dancers kind of going around drudgingly wearing pants and not very happy. And then halfway through the song, or closer to the end, they break out in a Highland fling because they get to wear their kilts again. So the Chartreuse, here we go.
Dancing the Chartreuse are Megan Mogley and Izzy Ward.
Okay, a little instructions for all of you. We're going to do the lament right now, which is a tribute to all our friends from the Maple River Burns Club who have jumped to the land in the Lee. No clapping required at the end. One of the other things they put in the program this year is a very short intermission. I think there was a desire maybe to have a short break where you could stand up. To be honest with you, to keep it moving, I wouldn't leave the auditorium unless you really feel like you have to. Stand up, chat with your neighbors a little bit, sit down, and we'll get right back at it. So, the lament.
Thank you.
All right, let's take our seats. You're so orderly. Just like you're in church. Well, in talking about church, there was this older couple sitting in church, and about halfway through the service, the woman leans over to her husband and she says, "Harry, I just had a silent fart. What should I do?" Harry leans over to her. "Replace the battery in your hearing aid." You guys have been at intermission. You're not up to that speed there. All right, back to the dancing. Again, a super fun dance. It's a sailor's hornpipe. So again, back to mimicking. This is a sailor doing Navy work. So this is the second Navy. This is the second sailor's hornpipe, right? I already told you this story. Here we go.
Dancing the Sailor's Hornpipe are Macy Sorey, Aubrey Will, and Madison Ward. So my brother's backstage in the band room. I told him I'm going to tell a story. I told the band, too, I'm telling a story about my brother and bagpipes, and they love it. So here it comes, guys. One of the things you do when you're a bagpipe player is play at funerals. A lot of funerals, right? You can make money playing at funerals, and my brother's done it. And maybe some of you in the audience have asked him to play at your funeral. Anyway, so he was... had this funeral gig, and he's driving around, and he didn't really know where he was going. He can't find the graveyard. I mean, he can't find the place. And so he's driving, he's getting later and later. And finally, he sees some guys filling in a hole. He goes, there they are, there they are. And he parks the car, gets bagpipes out. Everybody's gone, except for the people filling the hole. So he feels terrible, but he says, what the heck, I'm here, and pipes them up and plays a beautiful rendition of Amazing Grace. Just beautiful. One of the diggers, they had stopped. They're crying. He finishes, starts walking back to his car, and he can overhear the workmen talking. They go, that was just beautiful, but I've never seen anything like this in the 20 years I've been digging septic tanks. Sorry, Jay. True story. All right, we got the Jacobite sword dance. Here we go.
Dancing the Jacobite are Rebecca Walters and Delaney Stencil.
And of course, all of you Outlander fans know a lot more about the Jacobites from those first seasons. I don't know, one of the favorite parts of the now Minnesota Star Tribune paper, on Saturdays they have a little section called News of the Weird. I don't know if you guys get that paper or not, but there's little sections in there, News of the Weird, and they had this story on there. This gentleman, his good friend was opening up a new business, and so he was going to go to the grand opening, and he sent some flowers over for the event, and when he got there, the flowers showed up, and what does the card say? Rest in peace. He is livid. This is not what he sent. So he gets on the phone, and he's talking to the florist, and he's kind of reading him the riot act, and the florist is like, calm down, calm down. I'm sorry that happened, but just think there's some place, there's a funeral going on, and they're looking at the card, and they're so happy because it says, welcome to your new location. It's a good way to think of it. One of my favorite dances is the Irish jig, which is a Scottish version of an Irish jig, and it's a parody of an angry Irish woman, washerwoman, when she finds out the neighbor boys knocked her clean water all around, and so she's got fists going, and you can see, anyway, Irish jig. Here we go.
Dancing the Irish jig are our graduating seniors, Shaylee Bear, Maya Garbus, Caitlin Switzenberg, and Ava Stencil.
Well, there was this story about, this is kind of an old-fashioned couple during the lead up to their marriage, where they were very, very traditional in their approach and very measured in how much time they spent together, etc. But now they're on their honeymoon, and the husband's very worried about how he's going to break the news that he really fights kind of stinky feet. His socks, his shoes, not good at all. At the same time, his new bride is in the back of her wondering, like, how am I going to break the news? I just normally have really bad breath. I've been covering it up, but we're married now. It's going to come out. But they're both kind of laying in their wedding bed, kind of thinking these thoughts. And the new husband kind of leans over and he says, "Honey, I got something to tell you." And she leans in closer and she says, "Honey, I have something to tell you too." And he looked at her and goes, "Did you eat my socks?" That's going to be a great honeymoon night. Our last dance of the night. And it's a new one for Burns Night, and it's called Perth Assembly. And I got sent a little note here, so I'm going to read this. So Perth Assembly is a sword dance which originated when Perth was the capital of Scotland, and danced with a gathering of the chiefs from the various clans assembled, assembly dance, to swear allegiance to their king. Then has steps from other dances, the Jacobite sword dance, the strathspey, and the reel. So here we are, the Perth Assembly.
The Perth Assembly is being danced by Kaya Wenner, Tina Gall, Kate Davis, Tabitha Barkowski, Autumn Gall, and Ami Yeager.
That was really fun. Thank you, ladies. And I had no idea that the first tune was going to be the theme song from Outlander. Anybody notice that? So I'm killing time as the screen comes down, but I'm going to introduce Jeff Annis, who's going to quickly do the curling awards from the Bonspiel. Jeff Annis.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks. Again, the reason I'm up here is because Eric Mogley is up there. He's the president. So, and I shouldn't do this, and I'm sorry if I offend others on the board, but if you like some of the new technology and you watch it online, and I know there's a lot of people watching, you really need to just take a second to thank Eric and Janelle Mogley. In fact, let's just give them a round. And I know it takes a lot more than them, but he knows what he's doing, and the rest of us all don't have a clue. So again, this week we had 16 teams of men and women battling for the coveted Burns Trophy, and it came down to today. And again, the first event final was a classic, and we'll tell a little bit about it. But we had the Passmore rink, as you can see, won third event. Congratulations to them. And winning the second event was the Alec Bear rink. Congratulations to them. And in that first event final, that Jared Moore team, they jumped out early, and the old wily vet called Randy Cumming, he just slowly, methodically got his way back into the game and come home in the eighth end, tied up. And again, it came down to that last shot. And so the Jared Moore rink was first runner-up, and then Randy Cumming and his crew won this 2025 Burnspiel. So congratulations to Randy and his team. Thank you.
So before we toggle up the last couple of former Miss Bonnie Lass speeches, quick story about my youngest son, David. When he was like 3, we were at this picnic. And, you know, when you certain picnics and there's just a lot of friendly flies around, you know, there's flies all over the place. And he found this fly, and all of a sudden he's weeping and wailing because he swallowed the fly, and he remembers the song, well, and she swallowed a fly, I guess she'll die, and he's just weeping and wailing, and oh, it's just out of control. And so my wife, I had an idea, and so she kind of was trying to calm him down. I caught another fly, and I went over to David, and I said, well, let me look at it. And I said, I think this fly is, yeah, it's right here in your ear. And I took out the fly. I said, see, that fly is just fine, and I'll let it go. It just came right out. And his tears cleared up, and he ran over, grabbed another fly, put it in his mouth, and said, do it again. Best laid plans. So we are to our last 2 Miss Bonnie Lasses. So we will see the 1985 Miss Bonnie Lass, Lee Lester Darthis, and the 1975 Miss Bonnie Lass, Frances Armstrong Cox.
Hi everyone, I'm Lee Lester Dartis, and I was honored to be crowned Miss Bonnie Lass 1985. A little bit about myself. After high school, I left and went to Sioux Falls, South Dakota to Augustana University. I graduated with a biology degree. I met my husband while at Augustana, and we were married several months after graduation. We live in Sioux Falls. We still do. We worked here. I worked in pharmaceutical sales for a handful of years before we started our family. And we raised our 4 children here. And now I have my first grandchild. And she is so sweet. She's almost 2 years old. And I get to spend my days now playing with her every day while her parents are at work. So not a bad gig. I have such fond memories of being Miss Bonnie Lass, but not only that, I just have the best memories growing up in Mapleton. I will always hold Mapleton in my heart. Just getting to be part of the community and growing up, being part of Burns Night from age 5 on, dancing in every Burns Night I can remember, and then getting to be crowned and represent Mapleton as Miss Bonnie Lass. That was a dream come true. It really was. But I couldn't do it by myself. So I have to thank my court, Amy Hansen, Karen Landsteiner, and Chris Kapishke, because I couldn't have done it without them. We were really a team. There were times that I wasn't able to be at an event and they would fill in for me. So I feel like we were a team before that was a cool thing to be. So we really had a lot of fun going to the parades and the events and the teas, and just, it was easy to represent Mapleton because I know we all loved being part of the community. We loved growing up in Mapleton. For those of you who are new candidates this year, I just wish you the very, very best. I hope that you enjoy every moment and that you guys support each other through everything. It can get a little stressful and your heart can be pounding out of your chest, but I hope that you'll help each other through those moments and that you'll support one another when the next court is chosen. And just remember that you are part of something very, very special. Mapleton has such a unique community and a bonding that other communities don't have. This is such a deep-rooted tradition. It's unusual, I think, for how it brings even new people that didn't grow up in Mapleton. It's so welcoming and inclusive. So just keep that in mind too, that you're representing something pretty big here. I just hope that you appreciate it, and maybe if you don't now, you certainly will when you leave, like I did, because it just becomes more clear then. Yeah, so have a great night and best of luck.
Good evening, Robert Burns Night 2025. I'm Frances Armstrong Cox, and I am Miss Bonnie Lass 1975. So this year marks my 50th anniversary. I hold very fond memories of representing Mapleton and the Maple River Burns Club as Miss Bonnie Lass. My court consisted of Miss Congeniality, Jody Oschlager, second runner-up, Sally Dietz, and first runner-up, Debbie Kringle. It was the 99th annual Burns program, and it was delayed one evening due to a snowstorm, so it was actually held on Sunday, January 26, 1975. I'm grateful that the tradition continues. All these years later, we enjoyed representing Mapleton at all the parades. I think the one that stands out the most would probably be the Jesse James Day Parade, being the largest event that we attended. I had the pleasure of turning 50 several years ago in Scotland at St. Andrews. I live 40 minutes northwest of Chicago with my husband of 45 years. We have one daughter who has blessed us with 2 grandsons. And I would like to wish all of the girls this evening the best of luck. It's a great experience, one that you'll never forget. Thank you all, and good evening, Robert Burns Night 2025. Thank you.
So I'm going to ask the reigning court of Miss Bonnie Lass to come on stage and have Miss Bonnie Lass give her farewell speech and have her court join her.
Good evening, everyone. I would just like to thank the past Miss Bonnie Lasses and court members for coming tonight and celebrating the 60th crowning with us. We would like to thank the Maple River Chamber of Commerce, the Maple River Burns Club, the Heather Curling Club, and the Mapleton community for their continued support of the Miss Bonnie Lass and the Burns program. We would also like to thank our parents. Their encouragement and endless support has been more than we could ever ask for, so thank you. I'm Maya Garbus, Miss Bonnie Lass. First runner-up is Ava Stencil, second runner-up is Caitlin Switzenberg, and Shaylee Bear is Miss Congeniality. We've made it this far into the program, and as we prepare to crown the 60th Miss Bonnie Lass, I would like to share some of our experiences as the Miss Bonnie Lass Court of 2024 and the highlights of our 2024 reign. My experience as Miss Bonnie Lass is one to remember. Throughout our reign, the four of us had a wonderful time bonding. From sunshiny parades to community events, we did it all together. Being Miss Bonnie Lass has taught me a lot about responsibility and life skills like time management and reliability, communication with Mandy, my court, other royalty courts in our community, our public speaking at teas, within the community, and on Burns Night. Miss Bonnie Lass has been the greatest opportunity for me. It has helped me come out of my shell and be more active in my community. Being Miss Bonnie Lass will always have a special place in my heart. We started the year out with the Queen's Tea, followed by dancing the hornpipe and our crowning on Burns Night. My dad mentioned to me that he wanted the four of us to be present for Easton St. Patrick's Day Parade. Ava's mom, Kim, made us each a sign, and we loaded up in our makeshift float. On Memorial Day, we were invited to the service held at the United Church here in Mapleton. In June, we had our first official parade. On Friday night of Town and Country Days, my court and I walked around and checked out all the activities. Saturday was our big day. We arrived in the morning to watch the kids pedal pole. When that was done, we took the Grand Marshals, Dave and Kathy Byram, up to the United Church and checked out Mapleton's history and Miss Bonnie Lass's history the museum had set up for people to learn about. After we checked out the museum, we wandered back outside to dance the broadsword. Before the parade started, we kept ourselves busy with lunch with the Grand Marshals, walking around the park, and chatting with people in the community. When it was time for the parade, we piled into the golf cart and drove up to the old school parking lot. From there, we walked to our float and waited for the moment for our first parade to begin. A few weeks later, we had so much fun at Festag. We were invited to their Queen's Tea and got to meet so many other royalties from other towns, including Miss Minnesota and Miss Minnesota's teen. It was fun to share some royalty memories with our fellow classmates on the Festag court before they passed down their titles. While in our interviews, one of our judges had mentioned the defeat of Jesse James Days. We had heard all about it, but had no idea what to expect when we got there. We first started our day with the Queen's Tea with royalty from almost all over Minnesota. After the tea, we went uptown to watch the reenactment of the defeat of Jesse James. When that got done, it was time for the parade. We were invited to Kolachki Days Royalty Queen's Tea, and the four of us got to try their famous kolachki, a cream cheese pastry with a fruit filling. We kicked off our fall events with the Fall Festival here in Mapleton. We checked out the vendors, ate delicious food, stopped to pet the animals, played some games, and met some friends. We were invited to 2 ECFE events, the Safari event in the spring, and later in the fall, we attended the Boo Bash. We got to help kids with the activities while participating in the fun activities ourselves. In November, we were invited to the Veterans Day dinner held at St. John's Lutheran Church. Then in December, we were Santa's helpers at Snowflake Dazzle and went through our very last parade with the first grade class in Maple River. We ended the year with packing food for hungry children around the world. We even got to take a bag home and try it. Each bag feeds 6 children in total. We had many parades this summer and always brought the sunshine with us, as our advisor, Mandy Byram, would say. Ever since our first Burns Night together, the four of us had been waiting for this very night, and never in a million years did we think it would come this fast. That being said, I wanted to tell this year's court and future courts to soak up every moment, because one day it'll be over and you do anything to have one more parade with your girls. We are now ending our reign with our last Burns Night together as a court and as kiltie dancers, and we're ready to pass on the crown to Miss Bonnie Lass 2025. My court will now share their favorite memories from our reign.
Hi, my name is Ava, and my favorite memories are attending community events because it's so cool to see how such a small community can come together.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Switzenberg, and my favorite event of the year was watching the bank reenactment at Jesse James Day.
I'm Shaylee Bear, and my favorite activity that we did was our first away parade at Waterville, where we got to meet all kinds of new royalty.
All right, thank you. Okay, we're getting down to that moment. I'm going to have our contestants. I think we should put the screen, yeah, thank you, put the screen up. And while they come on, I would like to introduce and find our judges. Raise your hands. All right, right here. I would read their names, but you know, they're in the bulletin and I don't want to do it wrong. But thank you for your service. I appreciate it. And it's always nice to take the time out to do something like this. So thank you so much. Are people nervous? Yeah, I bet you are. All right. I'm going to set this over here. And you can see this is well sealed. I think you can start playing. You can play. They weren't in order. Exactly. There we go. All right. So the first will be Miss Congeniality. Kyria Springer. All right. Next is second runner-up. Olivia Sellers. All right. First runner-up. Allie Boning. And finally, Miss Bonnie Lass 2025. Madison Ward.
like to thank the Maple River Chamber of Commerce, the Maple River Burns Club, and the Heather Curling Club. I would also like to thank my parents for all the support, and thanks everybody for coming.
All right, what a moment. That's fantastic. I see all of our participants already know to head on backstage to come up for Auld Lang Syne. Also, another announcement for any former Miss Bonnie Lass or former Miss Bonnie Lass courts, after the program to meet in the section back here, and there's going to be a photo taken of all of you, so if you can remember to do that versus going into the clan gathering. I don't know if our piper's back yet. Are we still waiting? All right, so this is a moment. So I had a question, right? If every time you butter toast and you drop it and the butter, it always lands butter down, right? And if you throw a cat always lands on its feet. So if you took buttered bread and put it against the cat's paws and threw the cat, what would happen? Should I do that one again so you understand? No, I'm killing time here. So are we ready yet? All right, here we go. The Tattoo Twin Cities Pipe Band. Give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. So the show is over. All for singing one song all together, standing, clasping hands, swaying together as one community. Pretty special moment. Seriously. We're going to have all the participants hopefully join me. Otherwise, I'll be lonely. All by myself. Where are my people? We're going to put the words on the screen behind me once it gets down and once the people show up. Seriously. I'm not pulling a joke out of my sporn. I have them. They didn't make it into the materials. You can guess how bad they are. People, I think it's an evil plot against me. Come on up. Everyone. Everyone. I can see you back there. Thank you. But everybody in the audience, you can also stand while we sing. Next line. Words this year. You can. Perfect. The band's in the back. All right. Go up in front. Go up in front. Go up in front. Good night, everybody. See you at the clan gathering. Queens and courts, stay for the picture. Thank you so much.
Hi.